insightful, not only for our constituents who are here, but our elected officials from the state, because your child, you're gonna be facing the same challenges as many people. How can we balance the priorities of the state of New York versus what is coming out of Washington? So I would like to invite you to make any question, or basically if you have any question for the members of the panel. Yes. Yes.
Good morning. Identify yourself and ask.
Good morning. My name is Annette Roque. I'm the executive director at La Nueva Esperanza. Presently, we provide, one of the services that we provide at La Nueva Esperanza is food and nutrition to individuals infected with HIV and AIDS. Funding comes from HRSA to the city, from the city to Public Health Solutions, from Public Health Solutions to the agency. For the past 10 years, we have not received increase in contracts. Rent has gone up, food costs have gone up, operations have gone up, yet our contract money has not gone up. Will this affect, we're dealing with a crisis right now that I don't know how I'm dealing, I stay open because I'm a woman from the community and I hustle, but it's gotten to a point that I know that food is very important to all New Yorkers, to every human being, but it's life-threatening to those suffering from HIV and AIDS. And it's concerning, and I thank you, Congresswoman Nydia Velázquez, for inviting us here today, because it's something that everyone needs to know. Everyone needs to know how we may be affected, because personally, I listen to the information and I'm saying I own a house. How's that gonna affect me? But how is it gonna affect those that don't have even, a slight bit of what I have? How it's gonna affect them?
Thank you.
Is someone gonna answer quickly?
Well, we have seen since the Republicans took control in Washington, in the House of Representatives, a reduction on federal resources coming into our state and our city. That trend will become more complicated with this tax plan, because basically what we're going to see is a deficit, and the only way that they can achieve this tax plan is by reducing the amount of money, federal resources, that goes into any of the important programs that our communities are benefiting from. And if any of the members here, yes, Mark?
Cool. So I think, unfortunately, you probably are going to have to see, you're going to see some kind of funding constraints. What we see with trickle down is when you give tax cuts at the top, they don't really trickle down, but when you give budget cuts, they come all the way, everyone feels them all the way down. And just, we did talk about a lot of numbers. When we talk about Medicaid and Medicare cuts, what that's going to look like are grandmas and grandpas and abuelas getting kicked out of nursing homes and living on the street. The ones that are able to live in home and get care in home, which adds years to their lives, are going to end up in nursing homes. And nursing homes aren't somewhere where a lot of people that are living independently want to go. And we look at things like housing, especially in the city, with the elimination of private activity bonds, New York City is going to see $1 billion in less funding to build affordable housing. So the fact that our rents are going up are going to continue to go up. And we already know that we're going through a gentrification crisis and a rent crisis in this city, and it's going to become more difficult because of these budget cuts. When we think about schools and where the money is at and these funding cuts, what we're going to see are teacher layoffs, right? More teacher layoffs and more children in classrooms, which means they are going to have less attention focused on educating them. And those problems are going to get even worse when they graduate high school, right? When they graduate high school and more jobs weren't created and the education that they received was not as good as it could have been if we invested in our schools and our teachers. And then we're going to have another crisis with unemployment. We're going to have another crisis with what are all of these people doing? Really, when you look at this bill, a really good piece that I always look at is that there are more new deductions for buying a yacht than there are for buying school supplies. That is what this bill does. The trickle-down budget cuts are going to trickle all the way down. So anyone that is relying on any kind of funding from the city or the state or the federal government that is providing services to those most in need, it's going to be very, very difficult. And that is just that's the way that this tax bill was designed to be.
Yes.
We have another question here.
Can I just say a few things that could reveal a few things about the federal funding climate? The state of New York as a whole, it gets about $70 billion in funding from the federal government. The state of New York, the state budget, gets about $54 billion. The city of New York gets about $9 billion, $8.8 billion. And of course, NYCHA gets $2.6 billion. And of course, the schools districts get $1.5 billion, and counties and cities get $3.1 billion. So that's a lot of money, $70 billion. And I cannot speak to your program specifically, but every single dollar counts. Every single dollar is important, and of course, $70 billion is a lot to cut from, and I think that's going to be untargeted.
Thank you, and I would like to invite our two assembly members who have been here and share with us your perspective as to, the fact that Maritza already addressed the girl. So, Assemblywoman Nolan.
Thank you. No. I'm very happy to be here and with my colleagues Maritza Davila and Joanne Simon, and of course our leader, our great Congresswoman. Doesn't even have a wife. Our great Congresswoman Nydia Velázquez, and our wonderful team, Evelyn, and her wonderful staff, and of course here at Wyckoff, which is such an important part of our community, largest employer in this part of North Brooklyn and southern Western Queens. So I just want to say, first of all, thank you to the panel, phenomenal, every one of you, very, very helpful. I'm ready to go come and see. I just looked up your blog, on the financial thing. I don't do anything like that. So that, I think that for me sums it up. You're young, you're positive. We have to be resourceful. We have to understand, obviously, what we're dealing with here, but we're going to have to really fall back on our own resources. I want to say, too, those of you who know me know I'm not a jewelry wearer, but I want to point out that this is from Haiti, and this is from Africa, and that's where I stand. I think we have to, in everything we do, repudiate what we're hearing, and everything we do, we have to be resourceful and stick together in the Richard Bushwick communities, and we will get through this. We will get through this, and we will get through this presidency because we have people like Nydia Velázquez in Washington for us. Even doing this to educate us, so important. I just want to also say personally for me, as this thing started, we turned on that TV and Nydia was at that airport. I will never forget that as long as I live. I thought, they don't know who they unleashed here. It was very, very moving to me and to our group in Ridgewood that Nydia, we knew she'd be there, right? So that's what I mean about being resourceful. This hospital has been here since 1889, it wasn't easy then, it's not maybe easy now, we know that. There's been many things that have happened. When we think of the HIV epidemic, how we have actually in many ways, it has been so much progress, so we have to think of the positives. I have a 19-year-old son that's going to college, and I can tell you it's been an eye-opener even at that level, because when he went upstate, he met a Trump kid, that thinks Trump is great, and how he had to deal with that in the classroom. So, every day we are sort of finding that we have the strength to deal with this, to change hearts and minds, because that has to happen, right? Somebody won an election. Now we have to make a new election soon, right? So we're going to have to work really hard to explain, educate, inspire. Nydia does that, and I'm happy to be here today with my colleagues. I just want to say on education, we do spend billions of dollars in New York State on education that comes from New York State and New York City. So the federal share in education in our state is actually very, very minimal. They keep telling us what to do, and I know the number seems so big, but in the scheme of what we spend, most of it comes from our state and local taxes, and it's spent at the state and local level. That's part of the problem. We have a system in our state where many localities that are more well-to-do frankly, they basically pay for their school system. They get very small share of state aid. So if they can't deduct those taxes,
Yeah.
they will then respond, I'm sure, by looking to get more state aid, and that puts more pressure on us. As chair of the Education Committee, I'm developing almost an ulcer of anxiety over it, but I believe that we can, with working together with all of us, get through it, and we will get through this. We will continue to thrive as a state, and I'm just so happy to be in
That's
today,
right.
because education is what we're supposed to do. Let me maybe break the smoke, I understand already, but I guess Joanne's gonna speak now. And thank you, Nydia, because
Thank
you're our
you.
leader.
Thank
And we
you.
can certainly say women lead, don't we?
That's right.
Assemblywoman Joanne Simon.
So thank you very much. I didn't come expecting to say anything, but I do want to thank my friend, excuse me?
No,
I
it's
will keep
important.
talking. Congresswoman Nydia Velasquez and Evelyn and all of her staff and this here at Wyckoff Heights, and my colleagues, Marissa Davila and Kathy Nolan, and the panel who I thought were all really, really excellent, and I learned a lot from listening to you. And I've been reading a lot and I've been listening a lot for the past couple of months as we've debated this tax bill. And I learned something new today. And I think that that's very important. And it's so important that we keep talking to each other and educating each other, because this will be a very difficult budget year for us. It's going to be difficult next couple of years. We are going to have to use all of our resources, mental and otherwise, to work together and support each other, and really lead the way in the nation that says that yes, we are here, we are Americans, we are diverse, we believe in the people of the state of New York, and we believe in America, and to not let anybody beat us down. Because every day it's another tweet, it's another crazy thing, and we just have to not get distracted, because while they're distracting us with rabbits,
They're doing this.
right, exactly. And so stop following the tweets and watch what he's doing with the courts, watch what he's doing with these appointments. This is very, very important that we stick together and take back both the House and the Senate. I'm looking for a 2/3 majority in both houses so that it's veto-proof. Thank you.